Howdy folks, I'm walking around here at Animeverse Fest here in Houston, Texas, where there's lots of hell of a boss stuff, Bluey, just lots of stuff I enjoy. I'm walking around kind of near the classic games area because it's the quietest, least crowded part of the whole convention, but I've done one lap around. It took me about an hour to get around the whole convention. There's lots of cool panels, lots of people I want to meet, so I'm gonna try to shoot some more video and see what else I can get in there. Alright folks, just did my first meet and greet here and I met Olivia Olson, voice actor for Marceline, the Vampire Queen. She was very lovely, had a nice little chat, nice little conversation, and a nice little signed autographed print that I'm gonna find a way to hang up on my wall somewhere so y'all can see it in the future videos. Just wrapped day one of Animeverse Fest. It was a lot of fun. Attended 3 panels, Arcane, Bluey, and the Helliverse panel. All were fun, all were great. Here is video footage of me asking a question at the Bluey panel that made everybody laugh.
Hi, my name's Chris, and we watch Bluey a lot in my house with my 4-year-olds, and we've gotten to the point where I think I like it more than he does. But now I have a bit of a problem, because every time we put on an episode, he turns to me and he says, "Daddy, does this one make you cry?" So my question for you is, do you have any advice? How do I get my child to stop roasting me every time we watch?
Chris, you don't. It's one of the joys of the show. You get to cry, and you get to have your kids roast you. How wonderful!
I reckon embrace it.
Bandit deals with a lot of it, doesn't he?
He does. True that, brother.
Thank you. And good times were had by all. I entered the Smash 64 tournament. I went 2-2, so classic half-man status. If you knew me back in the Smash days, that's pretty much what I did every tournament I entered. But yeah, time to do this all again tomorrow. I'll see you then. Okay, day 2 of the convention. It's much less crowded here on Sunday. I'm about to go meet Dave McCormick and Melanie Zanetti. So it should be exciting. Hope I don't get too starstruck, but yeah. Excited to see what day 2 is gonna bring. I got my family here, my wife and my kid. It's gonna be fun. All right, I got my 2 prints signed today that I wanted to get. I went and saw Alex Brightman. I got a Fizzaroli print. There's a little bit of a glare, but the quote I got was, "Let's go get burgers," from Fizzaroli. I really like this print. I think it's my favorite one they had there. And then of course, I had to meet Dave McCormick and Melanie Zanetti. Of course, I had Chili right, "You doing great." And Dave McCormick was really fun to meet. I'm sure I'm putting some selfies that we took here on the screen at this point. Yeah, really nice people all around. Alex Brightman was great. Both of the Bluey people were great. And yeah, this was an expensive weekend for me with the prints I got signed. Okay, it is the day after the convention. I've had some time to recover and sleep, and now that I don't have to deal with all the noise of the convention hall, I want to share some thoughts and some stories from the weekend that I didn't really get to because I really didn't record as much video as I wanted to. So enjoy this quick little rundown. First of all, shout outs to my buddy Ryan, who came with me both days, who did bail me out, who did have his debit card so I could get cash to meet some of the actors who were cash only. Because I didn't have a debit card and forgot to get money. Whoops. Always be prepared for your cons, people. But yeah, straight up bailed me out. One of my best friends, one of my oldest friends came with me both days because we bought the Bluey family pass, which I guess I don't know if I actually showed off my actual badge, but there we got specifically the Bluey VIP one there. So while everyone had just a variety of anime characters, I had the Healer family on mine. But it came with 4 passes. I knew my wife and kid were coming one day, so I invited him. And it was great to have his company the whole time. But yeah, I mentioned him because he said compared to some of the cons he went to, the layout of this one was kind of ass. This is the same building where they hold the Houston Livestock Show as part of the rodeo, which if you're, from the area or familiar with the area, that's kind of a really big deal here. But it is just kind of one really large room where just everything was. So it was very noisy the whole weekend. And I know I showed off the prints I got signed, but I wanted to tell little stories because all I really said was, oh, I met them. They were nice. We had a nice little chat. So first I met Olivia Olson, Marceline from Adventure Time. We probably had the most basic conversation. I just told her Marceline was one of my favorites and that I myself as a bass player appreciate a character who plays bass. She pretty much agreed. I told her that I did a cover of the Stakes version of the intro and it was a lot of fun to kind of learn it and play it. She said, yeah, it was fun to record it. And I was really honored to get to do a version of the theme song back in the day. So that was really cool. Day 2, probably my favorite story was meeting Alex Brightman. Where I realize now that I got the quote wrong. I told him it's something like, let's go get burgers. But he says, you know what I'm craving? Burgers. That was the actual quote. But, I'd like to think that if Fizzaroli and I were talking, he would say himself, let's get burgers. But, I said that to him and he actually looked up and said, that was a really good Fizz voice. I said, oh, thanks. I said, I think I might have a decent Fizzaroli as well. Or not Fizz, Serpentius. He said, all right, hit me with it. He stopped signing to look up for it. I was like, well, Mr. Alex Brightman, you must be quite starstruck to be in the presence of the wonderful Serpentius. And he kind of smiled really big and he says, oh, well, I am. Do you want to make out? To which then I pulled out my egg boy voice and said, gee, boss, this is getting a little X-rated. He said, you're making me miss my minions. But, it was fun. It was really fun to banter with him in character voice like that. He had a big smile on his face with it and, said they were both pretty good. So whenever it comes to Has Been Hotel Season 2, I have the Alex Brightman seal of approval for my Pentius voice. But that was a lot of fun. I was in line right behind someone who was like Beetlejuice in Victorian dress mode. And I was like, well, how am I going to follow this? Meeting him and all that. But the actors who I wanted to meet the most, Bandit and Chili, Dave McCormick and Melanie Zanetti. I have met, musicians I like, bands, musicians, actors, a little bit of everything. And I've always been fine. I feel like I've composed myself like a normal person. But I tell you, I was starstruck. I went in Melanie's line first, and I legitimately almost came to tears asking her to write, "You're doing great," on the signature for mine. And I feel like I barely could get anything out. I played the clip earlier of the question I asked in the panel about my kid roasting me. I had my kid with me that day, so I could say, hey, do you remember me from yesterday? I asked this question. Here's the kid that makes fun of me every time. And she was like, oh, be nice to you, Dad, and everything. But I feel like I could hardly get anything else out because I was just like, she's writing, "You're doing great" on my print. And that just, I don't know, that really touched me. And then, as you saw in the pictures, I'm like a foot taller than her. She's a lot smaller than I expected in person. And then Dave McCormick was a lot of fun. I did post one picture, but I'll post the others as I'm saying this. I initially started with, pointing at him and smiling. I'm like, nah, that's kind of dumb. He's like, no, do it, mate. And then, so I did it. And then he's like, now I'm going to do one pointing at you. So there's that picture. And then he said, now let's do one where we're both real bored. And so we both just kind of stared off into space, and he said, that's the one we'll post online. And so he was a lot of fun. And then as we were walking off, he asked me straight up, and I feel really bad for whoever made this for him, but somebody made him a custom Pokemon card, like a Bandit Pokemon card. And I don't know if he just doesn't like accepting things or what, but he's like, do you want this? And he just handed it to me. I'm like, are you sure you don't want it? He's like, yeah, take it. So I have a Bandit Pokemon card now. Now that I've been playing a little bit of the Pokemon TCG, this does not look like it would be a very good card, actually. But, it's something I own that Dave McCormick himself gave me. So that was fun. And, also compared to Alex Brightman, who had like almost a shrine, like full of things on the end of his table of just stuff people had given him that he's going to be taking all of it home. But, it's just interesting. It was a lot of fun. And then finally, I did mention my wife and son coming with me. We did take this at one of the kiosks of, they were taking pictures at the event, and you put whatever background you wanted on there. So just, a little keepsake for us from the event. But overall, it was like really my first time going to a convention where I was there to like meet actors and stuff. Like I've been to DreamHack, which is more of a general gaming thing. And I've been to a couple things in the past, mostly going with some friends or, maybe to meet one or two people, but also to link up with a couple online friends. RTX back in 2014 and 2015 come to mind.
But this was my first time really going, saying like, okay, I'm going to go meet people. I'm going to go to panels. I'm going to do all this stuff. And it was a blast. All the panels I went to were great. Shout outs to the Sonic panel on Sunday for just being really wholesome and good. There was a former voice actor for Sonic and the current voice actor for Tails there. And they both seemed like really great people. I was out of money, so I didn't go to their tables to actually meet them or anything. But my kid sitting next to me at that panel, he just had a big smile on his face the whole time. Every time Colleen O'Shaughnessy, I think her name is, every time she busted out the Tails voice to say anything, like my kid just like big old grin on his face. We were sitting in the front row too. And same with Jason Griffith, I think his name was. I think he played Sonic from like 2003 to 2010. He also did the voice of Shadow. So there was a lot of ultimate life form talk. And, you know, every time he did that, my kid would smile too. So it was just a really, really good weekend. Very tired, lots of steps in. Would do it again. So that's my thoughts from Animeverse Fest. Hey, I guess in closing, thank you for watching. I need every penny of ad revenue I can get from all that I spent on the signatures and the signed prints. But hey, if you happen to be there, what'd you think of it? I didn't run into anybody who knew me from the channel, but I did run into a friend of mine from high school who was very excited to see me. She gave me a big old hug, and I got to meet her partner, which was cool. But yeah, other than that, like nobody came up to me and said, "I like your videos," which that I'm still waiting for that to happen at some point. But regardless, other than that, I had a great time. Thank you for watching. Nothing else to say. Bye.